African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing on the progress of the special military operation as of May 26, 2025. Tonight, the armed forces of the Russian Federation carried out a massive strike with long-range airborne precision weapons and struck unmanned aerial vehicles on targets at the Starokonstantinov airfield. The strike's objective was achieved, and all designated targets were hit. As a result of active and decisive actions, units of the North Military Group liberated the settlements of Vladimirovka and Belovody in the Sumy region. Concentrations of manpower and equipment of the airborne assault, 2 mechanized brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces, and a territorial defense brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Yablanovka, Alexievka, Sadki, Pisarevka, and Osoyevka in the Sumy region. That the Ukrainian armed forces lost up to 275 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, 9 cars, 4 field artillery guns, an electronic warfare station, and a counter-battery radar station. Units of the West Group of troops took up more advantageous lines and positions. They defeated formations of 2 mechanized brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces, 3 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kupiansk, Gleshchenkovo, Algovka, Andrievka, Peskinoy in the Kharkov region, and Kirovsk in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Ukrainian armed forces lost up to 235 servicemen, a tank, 2 combat armored vehicles, 10 cars, 3 artillery pieces. An electronic warfare station and 4 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the Southern Group of troops occupied more advantageous positions and inflicted losses on the manpower and equipment of 3 mechanized and airmobile brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces in the areas of the settlements of Seversk, Zakatnoy, Serebryanka, Konstantinovka, and Vyemka of the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 205 servicemen, a tank, 5 armored combat vehicles, 5 cars, and a field artillery gun. 2 electronic warfare stations and 2 field ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of forces improved the situation along the front line. They defeated formations of 3 mechanized, Ranger, airborne assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Oktyabrskoy, Novolanovka, Artima, Petrovskoy, Dimitrov, Novodoretskoy, and Grodovka of the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy's losses amounted to 475 servicemen, 9 armored combat vehicles, 8 cars, and an artillery piece. Units of the East Group of forces continued to advance into the depths of the enemy's defense. They defeated the manpower and equipment of 3 mechanized brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Novopol, Otradnoy in the Donetsk People's Republic, Guliapol, and Chervon in the Zaporizhia region. The Ukrainian armed forces lost over 160 servicemen, a tank, an armored personnel carrier, 12 vehicles, and 3 field artillery guns. 2 electronic warfare stations were destroyed. Units of the Dnieper Group of forces defeated formations of the Mechanized Brigade, the Coastal Defense Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and the Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Novoandrievka, Molotov-Machka in the Zaporizhia region, and Antonovka in the Kherson region. Up to 65 servicemen, 4 vehicles, 3 electronic warfare stations, and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Operational Tactical Aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the groups of troops of the armed forces of the Russian Federation inflicted damage on military airfield infrastructure facilities, ammunition depots, storage sites for strike unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed forces units and foreign mercenaries in 152 districts. Air defense systems shot down 7 JDAM-guided aerial bombs and 5 U.S.-made HIMARS multiple launch rockets, as well as 220 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles, 139 of which were outside the Special Military Operations Zone. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 663 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 59,652 unmanned aerial vehicles, 607 anti-aircraft missile systems, 23,594 tanks, and other armored combat vehicles, 1,564 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 25,306 field artillery pieces and mortars, 36,001 units of special military vehicles. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.